Hey everyone, so in this video I just want to record the retrospect of the project that I have worked on. I've been a bit resting from uh, continuing with the project since August 16, but I'm still adding some new features. But for this video, I just want to go and try to first add a retrospect when it comes to what I learned from the project in general. And these are the questions that I was thinking about with regards to this project. What was my goal for this project? What were my strengths? What were my weaknesses? And what I could have done better? And what were the different challenges that I encountered? The skills that I wanted to acquire while working on this project. So the main objectives for this discussion will be how I can try to evaluate the learnings I've acquired during the whole duration of the 16 weeks development of the game. And of course, the planning stage, I also want to include here the planning stage from where I thought of building the project last January. Then I prepared to work on it around May 1. So basically, the planning stage was mostly around January to April. Based on my estimate, that was the stage from where I planned that I'll be working on this project from January to April. And I wanted to also take note of the difficulties that I encountered along the way as I tried to develop the project Datus Quest. And what was the most challenging part of the process? And how can I further improve on my project planning? And what are my plans for the project to move forward? So for the key learnings, I wanted to look at what were the things that I accomplished in terms of coding. I've been really trying to do my best to work on further familiarizing myself with the C# language. That's one of the things there. And of course, debugging. I learned a lot of debugging skills, Unity tips, music. I've learned about Motif. So perhaps let's try to break down the key learnings that I acquired during this project development. So I did learn a lot with the use of C Sharp. I learned singletons, how I can try to work on a project with the use of a singleton thanks to the online course of Jonathan Weinberger and James Doyle in Udemy. I actually enrolled in Udemy for us to, or for me to be able to learn further C Sharp and Unity game development. I was able to finish the course of James Doyle, learn to create a Metroidvania game using Unity C Sharp, and I also finished game development with Unity Official Ultimate Guide by Jonathan Weinberger. So I think that's I'm not sure if that's the correct term for that. Those are the two courses that I used as a reference for learning C Sharp, besides from channels from Blackthorn Prod, channel from Blackies, and plenty more channels that am really grateful, and I just can't mention all of them. Thomas Brush, the channel of Thomas Brush also, and of course my group, which is Home Team Game Dev of Chris De Leon, especially for the experience that I had in building my first game, which is actually Battle Space Invasion. You would see that I also have a Battle Space Invasion that I built together with my team in Home Team, and the experience that I had in C Sharp really increased. This is actually my first game, Battle Space Invasion. This is a game that I developed with a team. Let me just go here. I think that's this one. Battle Space Invasion that I developed with Home Team. And the experience that I had in this project really helped me familiarize myself with the coding aspect of C Sharp. And that's why last year, this was my goal to at least immerse myself with the knowledge of learning the C# programming language, and I built this project through that. And thanks also to Chris De Leon, he really helped me a lot in some of the concept of C#. So I would suggest you look up the channels and the courses that I took up. Perhaps I'll just leave a link at the bottom if you are interested to, or just let me leave a comment down on the comment section if you think you would want to at least know what courses I took up for me to be able to work with this project. And I'm trying to collate the resources. There's so many resources out there in YouTube. Game Dev TV. I also love watching the Game Dev TV tutorials. So those are really really helpful tutorials that I got from YouTube. So, and of course reading documentation. I have gone through some documentations. And for singleton, I actually specifically learned about it through the use of the course of James Doyle. And I also learned about the concept of audio managers. I also learned how to implement features on my own. This is one of the things that I really wanted to work on, and that will be to implement features that I wanted to happen by collating some resources, some examples that has been out there in the web. So I basically built some of the game mechanics based on some resources that I've combined together. And of course, trying to figure out the code base by being able to read through the C# language much better. I think that's one of my target goals really for building this project, to get myself comfortable in reading the C# language in a much more deeper sense, if I'm not making a mistake with the term. I want to further learn the syntax and the different rules, the different data types, what are operators, how you can create a statement, how you can identify the expressions inside of a statement, how can I find the different operands and operators in a statement. Those are things that I'm trying to figure out further. And I'm actually working on trying to figure that out right now. I want to break it down in a way similar on how I usually learned JavaScript when I was exploring the JavaScript language, and I'm just trying to compare the syntax with the C# language, because I think C# is a bit more strict with some of the syntax and rules that it implements. And these are some of the things that I combined with some of the courses that I took up together with the YouTube tutorials that I've seen. Wall climb, I tried to implement the tutorial that Blackthorn Prod created, and then I tried to figure out how to implement that in the project. Uh, I'm still hoping that I can try to figure out one more addition to this, especially when it comes in relation to the animation. I'm really fascinated by one of the games that I'm hoping that will be released around 2024. Like, I just want to mention it. It's Emberbane. I really like it serves as an inspiration for me when it comes to building this project also. Besides from, of course, my favorite, or let's say one of the most inspiring games that I played, that I really enjoyed playing when I was in my secondary studies, and that's Castlevania. And here I was able to refactor the the code here, and or let's say I was able to figure out how to implement arrow direction, but there's still an issue that I'm encountering, and that's the issue from where I can only fire left and right when I'm moving the player. I'm still trying to figure out how to make that player fire from when it's idle. And I was planning for future refactoring. I was hoping that I will be able to shoot from up, down, left, right with an angle. And I'm I'm planning to implement that kind of feature so that I can maximize the use of different angles when I'm shooting with the arrow. And of course, I wanted to, in the next stages of this code, I'll be doing a lot of refactoring. I want to learn how to use state machines. I haven't really implemented this, and I think this is something that I want to get deeper into. I really want to try to refactor the code using state machines because I've been watching some tutorials already about it, and I think it's definitely going to be a very important concept to learn if you're going to be going forward with game development with C sharp. So I think this is one of the succeeding goals that I'll have for further improving the project that I'm working on right now. And of course, I just want to give special thanks to my teammate in Home Team Game Dev and for their feedback, and also for the playtesters that really gave me really important insights with the game mechanics. Both the positive and the negative feedback really helps me a lot. That's why I created a form for the game. Perhaps it's something that really helped me gain some more insights about how to further improve on the game. I was able to work on some of the, let's say for example, I really appreciate the feedback that came from Michael. He mentioned there the when the player drops on the pits or the spacer, I think there should be a little bit of stopping the player from moving left and right, and I was able to figure that out how to implement that, and also playing some sort of an audio. I really wanted to try to figure out how to implement that, and I was able to implement it for a few days. It took me quite some time to sit down on it and then try to do a lot of testing for me to implement it. And I think that's one of the things that I remember that made me really happy when I figured it out. When I was able to figure out kill the player, stop the player from moving, play some sort of an audio, respawn the player. And I think that was one of the few days of troubleshooting that I had to undergo while I was trying to implement that feature. And I really had to try to check out some testing for how to implement it in the logic of the application. So playtesters, I can't mention every one of them, but it's really helpful that I got feedback from them with regards to project. I'm still trying to implement some of the things that are noted in the Google form that I've created for the playtesting, and I would want to further list them down and try to check out or check the changes that I'll be implementing in code based on the feedback that I received from the playtesters. Okay, so for the debugging, I had some of the bugs that I encountered, and that would be some issues. I wanted to document it, so I can always go back to it. You see, I was having some issue with the slope area. I had a problem with the spider collider. Bug fix for the Maranhig when I'm trying to activate it. I was trying to figure out how to implement that kind of feature. So bug with the fall detector, then bug animation for boss fight. I still want to work on some of this and some testing too. I haven't really implemented the testing too, but I think I have a general idea already with it. So debugging was really one of the things that I wanted to also learn in this project. So I wanted to document it. So I created some sort of a playlist that I normally watch and try to recall whatever bug fixes that I have found and figured out. And I wanted to go back to it by creating some issues in GitHub for this project. And I think that I would say that through this project, I was able to at least experience a lot of debugging for implementing some features that I wanted to happen in the game. And for the Unity tips, I learned a lot in terms of learning about the debug mode. During the first time that I ran through with the Unity engine, I wasn't aware of the debug mode. The step button, I learned that you can use the step button for you to check each of the possible flow of your code, and I was able to use this for figuring out what's happening with the fault detector. And of course, the switching from play focus and play maximize, you can actually pause the game rather than stopping it by playing or pressing on the play button. So that was what I was doing during the time that I was building the battle space invasion with my team in home team. And I think that was one of the things that I really enjoyed getting to learn when I learned about that situation or that feature of Unity, because before I was stopping the play button and then I'm going to play it again. So you just have to pause it, go to the game view, then afterwards choose the play focus or play maximize, then play or press on the pause button again, and it will activate the maximize or the play focus. I also learned about player settings, especially for collisions of different objects, version numbering when deploying, like semantic versioning. So for the semantic versioning, I had to a bit transition, because the first time I was working with the different versions, I was just guessing it out. And then I tried to do some research about semantic versioning, and I found out that there are some suggestions that you can start with a major release or major update, you have a minor update, you have a patch update or an additional feature that you want to implement, and then you can also have a version that will be specifying packages that you've added to your game. So for the gizmos, I learned how to use gizmos. Before I didn't know about that. Now I know about it. Tile sets and tile mapping, I was able to figure out some ways on how to utilize tile sets and tile mapping. And I really had a difficult time understanding how to implement a slope on the artwork. And I was trying to figure out how you can try to create a grid for the tile maps and tile sets. I'm still planning to create and further improve on the artwork for the slopes, and I think I'll try to redraw it just to get some more practice and try to learn more how to do tile sets and tile mapping. I also learned how to test to deploy on a PC device. I was able to install it, I deployed it, and then I had a test for deploying it and then testing it out by downloading it and then installing the downloaded version on a PC device. I'm planning to explore more mobile deployment. I've been trying to look at some tutorials that will be familiarizing me with mobile deployment and how to set up some mobile input systems, like how I can try to convert the code base that I've learned or code based instructions that I learned for Unity movement, player character movement, and I want to implement mobile version or mobile features that will be allowing the game to be played on a mobile device. Now, for the music, I was able to work on trying to, when I was starting out, I was having a difficult time with the tracks. How should I be organizing them? And I think that's the thing that I want to further work on, how I can try to organize the tracks, how do I add track title, and of course learning more about motifs. I really like the tutorial of Creative Sauce, that if you just search Creative Sauce, creating video game music, a beginner's guide, that was really helpful for me to try to start further understanding the concept of motif. I know how to play music, I know how to play guitar, drums, but the problem is that I don't have formal studying about it, formal studies with it, and I think that's a good resource that I was able to find. Creating video game music, a beginner's guide by Creative Sauce. It was really helpful for me to understand that you can start with motifs first. Try to figure out a bunch or a group of chords that you will try to combine as you try to build from that motif. And I think that video of Creative Sauce really helped me out with the music composition concepts. And on the artwork and animation, I learned how to create tile maps. That's one of the things that I didn't know before. I learned about the animator much more. I'm still going to learn how to implement the state machine with the use of the animator. I still want to improve on understanding timing with the has exit time with the animator. This really made me confused a lot in the in terms of making the character get animated and working on some of the enemies. I want to further improve my understanding of the animator. So for the playtesting, you can see here I have a lot of playtesting build that I worked on, and I really did do a lot of playtesting personally. I just played the game. I do like to play games, and I think that's one of my reasons why I got into game development and why I'm enjoying it a lot. I love playing games, and I've been thinking about working on a YouTube channel that will be specifically for playing games of indie game developers also, and also working on playing some more of my favorite games out there. Especially, I want to install some of the games that I'm looking forward and waiting for getting finished. Like Emberbane, I want to play that game. Castlevania, I was hoping to replay it again. Perhaps if I have some more time, I just wanted to insert it with all of the events that are happening right now in my life, of course, when it comes to the the time allotment, because work has really been uh, a lot lately. And you would see I have the old versioning game builds that I started with, and I was really not following any semantic versioning. And I tried to work with implementing semantic versioning. As you can see here, there's plenty of build versions that I created. I'm not sure if this is the right way to approach it, but I'm still learning. I'm thinking about trying to work further on building more games and maximizing the use of semantic versioning with it. And I've already started with PC builds. I have one PC build, only tested it once in creating a build for the PC. And I have some release versions, like the ones that I have here, starting around August 29. So that means August 16. And I started working on some fix for the knockback. I was able to figure that out. Jump through platform that I received from a playtester. I was able to implement the walk animation and how I can try to add a shift key for speed up. I did some refactoring for the player movement because the first time that I worked with the player movement, you can directly run with the movement uh, A and D. But now we can see the difference between the walk animation and the speed up once we try to press on the shift key. And also the double jump implementation of the animation frames. I working on the artwork, and then I added a room 1 solve patch for bug with area 1, and then updated the Manhigdet animation. So the challenges, and this is one of the things that I think really or this is one of the most important topic in this lesson. I think this will be some of the things that I encountered during the development process. So in terms of video editing, the daily devlog really was a bit challenging for me because the daily devlog really took a lot from me because of the video recording, editing of the images for the thumbnail. I had to sometimes I was really challenged by doing the daily devlog. At first, I was thinking of not doing the daily devlog. I won't really recommend it because as I've experienced, it was quite challenging to record every day and update with the devlog with the progress that was happening in the game. The good thing about it, if you do a daily devlog, it motivates you. And I was working with the 100 days of code challenge. That's why when I finish at least 100 days, I started to stop the devlog because I was only really targeting continuous 100 days of at least doing the 100 days of devlog for this game, no. And the experience was really helpful for me in a way. It was challenging, but it was also beneficial on my end because it kept me motivated to finish or to work on the project so that I can go at least release it on time based on the target date that I wanted to finish. So I really enjoyed a lot of the advice in the online course of Chris De Leon from completing projects on time in Udemy. And I also enjoyed the video of Thomas Brush about creating your own indie game studio within a year. And those were some of the references that inspired me to work on the project and start working on the project and uh, helping me out, at least deliver the prototype on a 16-week duration. And I utilize a lot of techniques in the advice that I got from those tutorials and online course. So I think that's the main thing about the video editing. I won't really recommend daily devlog if you think you have a lot of time commitment or you have a lot of commitment. But if you would want to commit yourself on a specific numbers of days that you would want to work on a project, let's say me, I was really aiming to work on at least 100 days continuously and consistently. It helped me really work on the project, even if it's just 20 minutes, 30 minutes to 1 hour a day. I was able to add some changes on the project through me having that daily devlog exercise or daily devlog commitment that I committed myself to. And I still continued up to at least 108 or 109, I think, because a few more days were left after the 100 days. There were at least 9 or more days something. Let me just check. So before the release date, it was up until day 109. And then I think that's the 106. I think 106. So 100 days, then I just kept most of the remaining. You would see here, I have some of the remaining days from day 101. I actually have started from January, and I think this is basically just a compilation of day one from January. I started working on some of the initial, you would see I had some initial design and then I refactored that. And I just watch a lot of the art tutorials from different YouTube channels, especially the advice coming from artworks that, where's that channel? I really like the pixel art tutorial of Adam Eunice. Also the artwork to the artwork tutorials of Thomas Brush. I learned a lot from, you would see here, these are the old tile maps that I created. And then I watch a lot of the pixel art tutorials. So, and I also tried to work on 2D art tutorials. I'm currently watching more animation tutorials and I was able to accomplish here. As you can see, the day, I think I need to adjust the week numbers. Day 1 starting from May 1 up to August 16, I was able to accomplish at least 100 days of continuous devlogs, and then I just continued, but some of these are already unlisted. I didn't have them uh, public anymore. So you would see I was working on some of the 100 days or more until the day of the release, after the day of the release. And fixing bug with code, this is one of the challenges that I encountered. As I mentioned, there were some features that I wanted to add, and I was trying to figure out how to implement them, like how to implement water, how to implement that feature that I mentioned, and much more. I still have a lot of bugs to work on, and it's giving me some additional learning. And of course, learning artwork and animation. I'm watching some animation tutorials, and doing time for it every day was really, really challenging because I had my part-time work in the morning. I go outside in the afternoon for side hustle, and that's me driving my trike, and also working in the evening. And I allot at least 1 hour for coding while working on this project. So I think that's one of the things that I did daily, consistently. At least 1 hour, 30 to 1 hour minutes of working on the artwork, coding, music, and other features that I needed to add into the project. So, and the last one is one of the most probable reason that I would say that really challenged me as I tried to work on this project, because typhoons in our country are very rampant. And one of the things that I was really worried about are blackouts that could be caused by typhoons. And just recently, we had an issue here in my house from where actually it was just yesterday. Before I was able to record this, that happened, and the lower part of the house from where I'm renting out uh, fell down. So that's really one of the biggest challenge. And perhaps besides from typhoons will be very low support from some of my family members. I only had few family members that were supporting me with regards to my venture into this field. So I think perhaps motivation to continue the project, and even though there's a little bit of few support coming from close family members. So I think those are most of the challenges that I think could have been could have affected me finishing this project on time. So overall, moving forward with my project future plans, I wanted to work on today. I'm recording this. It's September 2, and I think that I've had enough rest from August 16 to August 30. I think I would want to further work on this. I've been doing some updates also in some parts of the game, and I want to, again, as I mentioned, I want to learn more about state machines, learn more about how to implement mobile input systems, and of course, I'm writing the storyline, and I wanted to add some trailer that will be animated. I think that's also one of my target goals, to further learn animation, work on animation, and how I can try to create some sort of a comic style storyline for, or comic style trailer and cutscenes for the game. Overall, this project really helped me out in trying to work on checking out on whether I'll be able to accomplish certain tasks in during the duration of the project within the 8 months period. And I think it helped me in a sense because even though there's a little bit of limitation, because of course collaboration really will be a big help in projects like this. My goal was actually to try out working on a project, solo project, and try to check out what will be my limitations along the way, and of course, what are things that I want to further improve on. And I'm hoping to further work on this, and I'm hoping to get some more feedback and try to improve on the game for the meantime for the remaining months of the year. And I think that's all for this video. I hope that you at least got some ideas with regards to the experience that I was able to get during the duration of working on this project from May 1 up to August 16, not including the January 1 to April pre-planning stage of development for this project. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you have some suggestions, highly appreciated if you have some suggestions on what I can do to further improve on the game so that I can try to check out. And of course, some learning tips that you might want to give me in terms of the movement or moving forward with the project. So thank you everyone.